Alrighty, welcome back everyone. So in case you guys missed it, last night Dokkan Twitter was going insane and for good reason. So far we've all been waiting to see who is that part 2 LR gonna be for the month of April, and Dokkan decided, you know what, while we are all waiting, let's go ahead, have some fun, shake things up. And they did exactly that, because last night on their official Twitter accounts, they posted EZAs and sub EZA details and confirmations, and it was just really crazy. But to show you guys what I'm talking about, they gave us official confirmations for the Dokkan Fest EZA for AGL Pikkon, the Dokkan Fest EZA for Tech Janemba, as well as sub EZAs for STR Pikkon on Global and Pikkon on JP, as well as the physical Super Kaioken Goku sub EZA. So a lot of exciting stuff. It's kind of out of left field, but I mean at the same time I really do appreciate it. And I did get a chance to look at some of these kits last night, but at the same time not in great detail. So today we're gonna go ahead and break down these characters in full, see what they are now capable of with their upgrades and whatnot, and see how they stack to the meta as far as gameplay is concerned. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the vid. If you do, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1K subs. Also, comment down below your thoughts. Let us all know, what do you think about the new EZAs and sub EZAs? I know a lot of people were surprised by them, but still, let me know what you think about these new upgrades. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And I want to start off with one of the top dogs, right? One of the more highly anticipated characters, of course, which is, of course, AGL Pikkon. Now, I said it in a recent vid, the Pikkon, for me personally, was not a character that I was necessarily hyped for as an EZA, but still, I wouldn't mind him getting a really good EZA and all that sort of stuff, so I think they did a pretty good job from my quick assessment, but we'll see in greater detail right now. So with the leader skill, of course, you know, connected hold category, key plus 3, HP attack and defense 180%, or superclass key plus 3, HP attack and defense plus 130%. So this, I will say right now, this is not necessarily close to being one of the best leads in the game. He does lead a bit of a niche category with connected hope, so we love that. He does lead superclass in general, so that's something we appreciate. I will say, not a character I'm probably going to run as a lead, but I think he'll be really good for a lot of newer players who maybe don't have the best compositions coming together. He can make a lot of things maybe work because of the superclass lead right there. So that's pretty good, but the leader skill, kind of just a minor thing, really. The important stuff are the super attack effect, the passive skill, and all those other stuff. So with the passive skill, so attack and defense, this is a basic effect right here. Attack and defense, 200% boost right there. High chance to dodge an enemy's attack, so remember, high chance means a 50% chance to dodge. Also, attack and defense plus 30% and key plus 2 for all superclass allies. So really good support right there. No conditions behind it. Once he shows up on the field, it doesn't matter if he's slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, if he's doing a super or not, you know, it doesn't matter what composition. He is going to be giving this support to superclass allies. Now, I will say that does kind of suck in the sense that maybe you want to run him with some villains maybe, which I don't think that's going to necessarily happen for a lot of people, but if you try to run him with villains, they're not going to be getting those buffs because, you know, they're going to be extreme class characters, so it won't work out there, but it is what it is. Now, the rest of his kit. So, for the first 7 turns from the character's entry, defense plus 200% on top of what he has for the basic effects, and guards all attacks guaranteed. With 3 or more type key spheres obtained, remember type key spheres, so AGL key spheres, he's going to be giving an extra 30% to attacking defense for Otherworld Warriors or Connected Hope category allies. Also, he's going to be launching additional as a great chance to become a super. With 1 or more rainbow key spheres obtained, right? Key plus 4, increasing the chance of dodging by 20%, and seals the attacked enemy super for 2 turns. When attacking with 12 or more key, attack and defense plus another 200%. So in terms of the math and everything, right, you know, basically with all this stuff kind of being activated, right, which is basically just for the first 7 turns really, he's going to be able to get up to 600% defense right there, plus 400% attack to his kind of kit and everything. With the rainbow key sphere right here, he's going to be getting 20% on top of his high chance, so that's going to be 70% chance to dodge. He's going to be able to give up to 60% boost to attack and defense for specifically Otherworld Warriors and Connected Hope superclass allies, so that's going to be really good. The additional supers, all that stuff, I like this kit. It's not the most robust kit, right? It's not the most diverse and the most all over the place, right? There's not a lot of crazy stuff happening, but you know, 5 clauses and they all seem pretty good in terms of what he's offering right now. I will say, you know, the thing that's got me kind of interested is I'm curious to see how he and specifically Tech Janemba will stack up to the best EZA TORs in the game. I think a lot of people would say that the best EZA TOR in the game right now is probably going to be maybe Path to Power Kid Goku, not accounting for Super EZAs. If we're taking into account Super EZAs, maybe Buhan or Tech Cell. I'm curious to see how these characters will kind of stack up in that respect, because you know, obviously they don't look Pikkon doesn't look the most individually powerful, but the support can be very special. So I think that could be something that could be very fun. Obviously, being able to cover Otherworld Warriors or Connected Hope, what this is showing to me is that he could work really well with the 10th anniversary fusions, right? Because the Gogeta unit is going to fit into this, but also the Tech Vegito should get this too because of Tech Vegeta being in the Otherworld Warriors. So the support there could be very, very powerful, very insane. So that's pretty good right there. I will say a minor kind of criticism. I wish the support lasted a bit longer, maybe 2 or 3 turns. To be fair, I think that's because I'm kind of getting spoiled with Glorio and like the physical Super Saiyan trio. But them being able to do support for multiple turns and just seeing this for the 1 turn that Pikkon shows up, that does kind of suck in comparison. So I will be kind of annoyed there. But still, the support is really, really powerful. Maybe one of the best things about his kit. The high chance to dodge is good. I will say, based off of this, it does seem as though for the hidden potential build, you want to go ahead and give Pikkon dodge and additional. Not necessarily crit, but dodge and additional. You could maybe throw in a touch of crit, you know, like a hint, but mainly additional and dodge. Probably dodge first, then additional, just to like double down, because he doesn't have a lot of defensive utility other than the dodge and like the guard for the first 7 turns. So you got to be careful in that respect. But other than that, he seems pretty good, pretty fun, I think. So I'm gonna enjoy using him. He's not an EZA that I was anticipating, but he seems like he's gonna be pretty fun. So I'll give credit where credit's due there. Now we keep going. So the super attack effects. So remember, he has a basic 12 key super because he's a TOR, but also he has a unit super that can be activated when he has an ally whose name includes Goku Angel or Vegeta Angel, basically like the Angel Goku and Angel Vegeta. So, you know, with his super attack effect with the 12 key, greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause immense damage, and greatly lower attack. And for the unit super right here, right, which we saw the condition right there, for the unit super itself, for the unit super attack effect, greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause immense damage to the enemy, attacks effective against all types, and greatly lowers attack. So basically the same effect. The only thing worth noting is the attacks effective against all types, and the other thing, which is kind of more of a niche kind of application, is that his basic 12 key is a melee super, his unit super is a ki blast super. So, you know, although this fight, like a fight I'm going to use as an example, is not necessarily the hardest one in the game now, the red zone, like Kid Buu stage, I'm thinking of that where, you know, the melee supers are no good against Kid Buu, but the ki blast super can work really well because obviously Kid Buu can take damage from that. So in that respect, the unit super may become very clutch in that aspect. So, you know, Pikkon, I like what he has to offer in general. When we look at Pikkon, his general kind of kit, just to see like the teams he can fit on and stuff, you know, he's got some good options for categories. I don't want to forget his active, right, which is basically a Ghost Usher for 1 turn. Can be done when facing 1 enemy whose HP is 50% or more starting from turn 4 for the battle. So a very easy condition. Ghost Usher is really good, so we'd love to have that. With the categories, he's on some good categories. I would probably say that the 2 main ones you want to put him on as far as teams are concerned are going to be tournament participants, or more especially movie heroes. And movie heroes, both of them really, but you want to kind of like throw in characters from Connected Hope or Otherworld Warriors, because when we look at movie heroes, right, like movie heroes are including characters like the Tech Super Saiyan Gods, of course. You also include like AGL Gogeta. So you have characters like them who could fit really nicely into his kind of combination of categories and stuff. I'm looking at some other stuff like Tech Gogeta, so you know, they could be pretty good. I think Beast, if I'm not mistaken, he's not on Connected Hope, I don't think. I think he's on Entrusted Will, so maybe he won't get the full support, but it'll be interesting to see how these things kind of pan out. But yeah, I mean, Pikkon, he seems pretty good, but yeah, we'll have to see how he performs in game. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I don't know if I want to say he's going to be the best TOR EZA in the game period, but I would like to see that happen because the support that he can offer seems really powerful and very fun to say the least. Okay, let's move on to his counterpart, if you will, with Tech Janemba. Goat Nemba, as some people call him. Actually, I don't think anyone calls him that, but let's go ahead and see what he's got to offer. So, with Janemba's leader skill now, right? So, Corroded Body and Mind category, Ki plus 3, HP attack and defense 180%, or Extreme Class, Ki plus 3, HP attack and defense 130%. So, the same design as Pikkon, basically a 130% for the Extreme Class here, which is nice for villains, of course, and the 180% for a niche category with Corroded Body and Mind. So, I do appreciate that, because Corroded Body and Mind has some cool characters for a lot of people, like Majin Vegetas, Rosés, but at the same time, the category itself is not really that powerful. So having another boost to the category, having a lead for it, that is going to be pretty good, of course. With the passive skill, I'll focus on the super attack right there in a sec, because I see apparently it looks like he can stack attack, but with the passive skill, right? So attack and defense 180%, guards all attacks guarantee. You love to see that. 50% damage reduction flat out. Also giving attack and defense plus 30% and Ki plus 2 for extreme class allies in particular, with 3 or more type keys for his obtained. So similar to Pikkon right there. Remember, green like tech orbs for Janemba right here. Corroded Body and Mind, or uncontrollable power category allies attack and defense 30% extra. So I botched the sentence there, but basically he's giving a lot of support for Corroded Body and Mind and uncontrollable power, which is a really good category to see that kind of buff, because if you guys know, Uncontrollable Power has some really great characters behind it, mainly a lot of Brolys. but that's gonna be really good. Launches an additional that has a great chance to become a super okay, so same thing as Pikkon there. With 1 or more rainbow key spheres obtained, defense plus 150%, also an extra 30% to his damage reduction, so that can make it up to 80%, so that's gonna be pretty good. For every attack he's receiving, he's infinitely raising his attack and defense not his attack and defense, excuse me, infinitely raising his attack by 20% up to 100% for the rest of the fight, and every attack he's receiving is reducing his damage reduction by 5%, no more than 50% in the fight. So, wow, that's actually really interesting. So, they kind of nerfed Janemba, right? Because the thing about Janemba, for those who remember, the thing about Janemba, like going back to his original kit, was that there was no flaw to this character in the sense that you had to avoid using him for long periods of battle, right? You basically arguably wanted to keep him in his base form, his Fat Janemba form, for the entirety of a fight pretty much. Like, it was pretty much that kind of design. But with this new EZA and everything, now they're making it so you're being rewarded for using him early on. You know, he can take a lot of hits to begin with, but eventually you want to get away from using him because then he's only going to have 30% damage reduction. That plus guard is not going to be good enough. So Janemba's going to be very interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to work. But, I mean, besides that, he's basically the same kind of design as Pikkon, where he's got a lot of support. He's got built-in guard, which is nice. I mean, he's got some nice defense to offer and everything. It's nice that he's boosting his attack because his stats are kind of low, especially compared to Pikkon. Pikkon had 400% in general to his attack and 400% to his defense with a potential 600% defense in total for like the first 7 turns. Janemba doesn't necessarily have that, but he does get stronger for the rest of the fight right here with attack boosting. So that's pretty good, I guess, in contrast. But it's kind of interesting. Like, the base forms, I'm not impressed with Janemba quite yet, but I think the way they're kind of designing it is to make the super Janemba form in this unit a lot more valuable than it was in the past. So yeah, I mean, pretty good right there. I mean, we'll look at the super attack effect, I guess, in just a sec right here. There we go. So the super attack effect, melee super right here, raises attack. So this is attack stacking right here, raises defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to the enemy. So basically the same stuff as before. The only thing is now he can stack attack, which is actually pretty nice. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's actually kind of appreciated, but you know, other than that, I will say, like, not necessarily the craziest thing to me. Like, his kit is really good. I just am not blown away like I am with Pikkon. Like, Pikkon kind of wowed me. Janemba has some cool stuff. I just don't know if I'm, like, sold on it entirely in terms of what he can or cannot do, right? Like, I don't know if that's just a wrong way of approaching it, but that's just my feelings there. Okay, before we go into the next portion, which I know is going to be the Super Janemba part, let's go ahead and remind ourselves of his transformation. So, he can transform into Super Janemba, which can be done after the character receives an attack 5 or more times in battle. So, basically, you know, put him in slot 1, slot 2, whatever, get him those 5 attacks, then he can transform whenever he wants. So, pretty easy active right there, you know, really easy. When we look at his Super Janemba form, right? So, you know, obviously his leader is going to be the same, but the passive and the super attack effect will change. For the passive, so attack and defense plus 200%, nice. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to any one type of key sphere. So I don't think there's any kind of limitations to that, so that's kind of interesting, but I mean, basically just a random orb changer, right? Changes key spheres guaranteed for Agile orbs to rainbow orbs. Guards all attacks guaranteed, and a high chance built in to dodge enemy's attack. Again, a 50% chance to dodge with 3 or more tech type orbs. Attack and defense plus another 100% launches an additional guaranteed super. With 1 or more rainbow key spheres, he's going to be boosting his dodge chance by 30%, so that's going to make it an 80% chance to dodge. Before receiving an attack within the turn, 30% damage reduction, so once he takes an attack, he loses this 30% damage reduction. After evading an attack, performs a guaranteed crit temporarily upon the character's next attack, and then when attacking with 12 or more key, attack and defense plus 250% for the turn. So, very powerful stuff. Let me go ahead and just look at the super attack effect real quick. So, with the super attack effect, greatly raises attack and raises defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to the enemy. Yeah, it does seem like they made sure that Fat Janemba would be kind of nerfed so that Super Janemba would look so much better. Like, I would say right now, I think Super Janemba is better than Pikkon, but Pikkon is better. Actually, no, it's kind of tough, because here's the thing. I was going to say that, and then I just realized something that I completely forgot about, which is that Super Janemba doesn't give support. So the beautiful thing about Fat Janemba is the Fat Janemba, right, if we go back here, he is giving up to 60% stat support for attack and defense to certain type of allies, just like Pikkon is. But Super Janemba, right, his better form, right, Super Janemba is individually a better unit than Fat Janemba. He is not providing the support. So you're kind of giving a bit of a trade-off. So I think, I will say right now, we have to see how they perform in game. Obviously, it does seem like they're going to fit slightly different roles with the attack stack and everything. I think I'm going to say that Pikkon is going to be better than Janemba right now. We'll see how they perform. but I am liking Pikkon and how he looks a lot more than Janemba, because he's keeping a lot of stats, he's keeping a lot of dodge chance, and he is still able to provide the support, where Janemba, you're basically picking and choosing between the support while losing your damage reduction, or being an individual powerhouse but not being able to support your allies. So it's a very interesting kind of trade-off right there. I'm not sure if I like it entirely, but it's interesting for sure. When we look at the categories for Janemba, so obviously uncontrollable power, movie bosses, transformation boost, accelerated battle, corroded body and mind. This guy is on some really good categories. Accelerated battle kind of stands out to me specifically, and the reason why is because of Glorio. Glorio with the double lead is going to provide a lot of support. That can go with Janemba. That can make things very fun. Now, Janemba is meant for extreme class allies, not super class, so there's a bit of a loss there, but still, I think it could be very fun in that respect. Uncontrollable power, of course, there's a lot of Broly's, Super Saiyan 4 Goku's there as well, technically, so bunch of fun stuff there. I mean, movie bosses is kind of obvious, it's very powerful, so I think it's pretty straightforward when we talk about Janemba, but yeah, I think I like Pikkon a bit more than Janemba in general. Okay, let's keep going. We have final, two more sub-EZAs right here, so let's see what they can do. By the way, so the Imp Pikkon and the STR Pikkon, they're going to have the same kit, it would seem, just, different typing, so we'll talk about that in just a sec, but just understand that. They're going to be sub-EZAs for Pikkon's medals, so just note that as well. For the sub-EZA STR Pikkon, so attack, HP attack and defense 100% 2 stats, and key +3 for STR type specifically, okay? Passive attack and defense plus 150%. All enemies will lose their defense by 50%. Launches an additional has a high chance to become a super. For the first 4 turns, high chance to dodge an enemy's attack, okay? For every super that's performed, infinitely raises attack and defense by 20% and key +1. Whoa, actually that can be that's kind of nasty. I'll come back to that in just a sec. Also infinitely increasing the chance of performing a crit and a chance of dodging an enemy's attack by 10% up to 50%. When the target enemy is in attack down or defensive down status, he will boost his attack by 100%. Before receiving an attack within the turn, damage reduction rate increases by 50% when all allies in the same turn are Otherworld Warriors or tournament participants category characters. It makes sense for the theme of the month and everything. Attack and defense plus another 100%. Chance of performing a crit and damage reduction increased by 20%, and launches an additional has a great chance to become a super. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. For sub-EZA, he's actually really strong, and I'll tell you why. He's got a lot of things to offer, built-in dodge, built-in damage reduction. As a character like him, I believe he's free to play if I'm not mistaken, but even if he's not, right, a lot of people probably have him. You're gonna want to build this character for dodge, like dodge and additionals, just like AGL Pikkon. Maybe more so dodge because he doesn't have the stats to offer necessarily. But look at this, right? For every super he's performing, he is infinitely raising his key and attack and defense. There is no cap to this attack and defense boost. This is infinite. You put him on Festival of Battles, this guy could be cooking. I don't know. I'm gonna try him out maybe on my own time, but he may be a nasty character for Festival of Battles at the sub-EZA level, because this is an interesting kind of thing imposed on his kit. It's a really nice thing to have. The rest of his kit, pretty good. Obviously not the most perfect kit, but still pretty good. I really don't have I don't have the biggest complaints about it. I will say his stats are a bit low, which is the only issue, but this is making me kind of open my eyes and say, you know what, maybe he could be cooking. I'm not gonna lie, I got my eyes open for that. So that's very interesting stuff right there. We keep on going with the super attack effect. Raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers attack. So debuffing, you love to see it. Raising attack and defense, you love to see it. Honestly, pretty good all things considered, nothing too crazy. When we look at Pikkon, specifically him, right, he's on a couple less categories, right? Worthy Rivals, Otherworld Warrior Saviors, Story Figures, Battlewits, Tournament Participants. Not on something like Connected Hope, not on something like, Movie Heroes. So it does suck. I think in that sense, you probably want to run him. I feel like the only good category, that you want to deliberately run Pikkon on probably is going to be Tournament Participants. Probably that. But, other than that, I mean, Pikkon seems good. Pikkon seems really good. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish this off with the Super Kaioken Goku. So, this is going to be very interesting. I have no idea what to expect here. Obviously, we know that the Part 2 LR is probably going to be something around, the Otherworld Tournament, because that seems to be where everything is leaning. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do. But, so for Super Kaioken Goku, HP attack and defense 100% to stats, key +3 for physical type, okay? Key +4 and attack and defense plus 200%, okay? High chance to dodge enemy's attack, built in, so that's nice. Randomly changes in orbs to key spheres of another type, unknown what that type is, it could just be random. When receiving an attack, survives KO attacks up to once within a turn. When HP is 80% or more, defense plus 100%. When HP is 80% or less, changes key spheres, physical orbs to STR orbs guaranteed. When attacking with 12 or more key, attack and defense plus 100%, and also an additional attack and defense plus 50% when HP is 80% or less. With an STR or physical key sphere obtained, launches 2 additional supers guaranteed. For every STR or physical type key sphere obtained, attack plus 40% basically for every orb, right? And then also boosting the crit chance by 10% for every orb obtained of those types. So he can basically get up to built-in guaranteed crits and a lot of damage there. With an AGL tech or int type key sphere though, guards all attacks guaranteed for the turn. For every AGL tech or int key sphere obtained, attack and defense increase by 20% both, and increases his dodge chance by 5%. So, very interesting character. Let me go ahead and finish this off right with the super attack. With the super attack effect, massively raise attack for 1 turn, cause immense damage, and sacrifice 5% HP. So, okay, here's the thing. I think that Super Kaioken Goku is probably the worst of the 4, but he doesn't even seem that bad. And he doesn't seem that bad because he's got built-in survive KO attack, so that's good for maybe like a slot 3 character, which he's probably going to be that. He's got built-in dodge, so 50% right there. You probably are going to want to build extra dodge for him anyways. You probably will want to bring other orb changers, so you will probably want to prioritize this for his kit, where you get more attack and defense, the dodge chance. You probably want to prioritize that. But he's orb changing, he's doing a lot of stuff. He can do some good work. He really could. Now, it does suck that his kit is kind of divided into 2 paths, where basically you either get the STR physical orbs for offensive focused kind of characters and stuff, or you get the AGL tech or int key spheres for defensive minded kind of fights. So it does suck that it's kind of branching into 2 paths, but beyond that, I mean, honestly, I think he's got some really good stuff going for him. So that's pretty good red stuff right there. I will come back to Pikkon because I forgot to talk about the imp Pikkon in just a sec, but I mean, that seems pretty decent. The massively raising attack is nice and everything. He did have the sacrifice 5% HP. I wish that was reduced, but it is what it is. With the categories, this guy's on a lot of categories. Wow, I forgot how many categories he's on. Pure Saiyans, Full Power, Goku's Family, Super Saiyans, Kamehameha, Otherworld Wars, Bond of Friendship, Earthbred Fighters, Turtle School, Final Trump Card, Accelerated Battle, Bond of Parent and Child, Tournament Participants. Holy moly guacamole, this guy is on so many categories, it is insane. What is that, like 12, 13 categories, I think? That's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, so you know, I still think Super Kaioken Goku, far as the kid is concerned, is probably the worst, but not even like that bad. I think Pikkon, the sub EZA Pikkon, is going to be the second worst, of course. I think AGL Pikkon is going to be the best. I think AGL Pikkon is genuinely going to be the best of the 4, far as the EZA, far as the kit, far as the performance. I think he's going to be the best, but Janemba, depends on how things work out, he could be pretty damn crazy too. Before I forget though, in Pikkon. So what I wanted to say about in Pikkon is obviously the typing is different, but the rest of the kit is going to be the same. But when it comes to the importance of the 2 sides, right? The thing is, with STR Pikkon, with like the kit and everything, I was saying you probably want to build dodge on this character. In Pikkon, for JP, is going to have an advantage there because the int type characters, remember, for the free-to-play hidden potential like stuff, they get a free 5 dodge on the 55%. So JP has a bit of an advantage there, but STR, you know, they get built-in crit. So it's a trade-off there. For JP, we may need to sacrifice one of our slots for a bit of crit. You guys don't have to do that on global necessarily, so it's kind of like a trade-off there, but still very cool stuff, very interesting stuff. Honestly, these EZAs have got me very excited. I can't wait to see when they're going to happen. We haven't gotten a data download, so if you look at the schedule or nothing, there is no info on when they will drop, but we can expect that they will probably drop in about maybe like 3 to 4 days, right? Right now is the 8th of April. It's probably going to come sometime, I would have to guess, probably like the 12th, the 13th, something at that point, if not beyond that, because we have to kind of time it to get closer to the Part 2 LR, I guess, so that's probably how things are going to work. But yeah, this is really crazy stuff. I am in love with what they're doing with these EZAs and stuff, especially because, I'm not gonna lie, like, call me a hater if you will, and I actually have a separate hate vid planned for STR Cell, but I think AGL Pikkon, I think Tech Janemba, I think are better than STR Cell, and I'll say it right now, I could maybe think of a potential specific situation where STR Pikkon, the sub EZA Pikkon, is better than this dummy right here. STR Cell, you need help, my boy. You need an EZA, you need Legends to come and collab with Dokkan and give you a plat equipment. You need some assistance, my boy. But anyways, yeah, I'm going on a bit of a tangent. That's how you know that is where we're going to have to wrap up this vid, because we already looked at the EZAs and sub-EZAs, we broke them down, and honestly, they all look really good. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below again. Let me know what do you guys think about the EZAs for Pikkon and Janemba, the sub-EZAs for the STR Pikkon or the M Pikkon on JP, and the Super Kaioken Goku. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the vid, again, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, show your support. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all in the next one.